Hey everyone, this is Derek here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the patch notes for the upcoming PUBG Mobile 0.9.0 global update, and man, what an update is it shaping up to be. Tons of changes to get to, but before we do that, another day of voting is upon us. You guys know what to do by now. If you don't, this is how you vote for me in the Star Challenge. We're actually starting to gain on some of the teams who are ahead of us, so I wouldn't give up yet. You click on the trophy icon with the little star in the middle there, bottom center of your screen. You'll have 3 votes if you have the normal pass, or 18 votes if you have the Elite Rail Pass. Next, you want to click on North America up here, and then you scroll down to find me. So Fandy has 225,000, and we are actually starting to approach her. We're almost up to 200,000. We were over 40,000 behind. Now we're only 25,000 behind. So we're definitely starting to gain. So I don't know how long this goes on for, but we might outlast our opponents. So definitely keep those votes coming, because I certainly appreciate it. We're almost over 200,000, and it's not over till it's over. So this is how you vote for me. And there you have it. Like I said, I certainly appreciate all the support. And with that, let's get to these crazy patch notes for the PUBG Mobile 0.9.0 global update, which is coming fairly soon. I saw the 25th of October as a potential date for release. So it's looking like it's going to be around a week and a half or so from now. Now, that might be subject to change, but just know that it is coming fairly soon, and man, do we have a lot to get to. So as always, patch notes are subject to change. There's a chance that something will be added or removed depending on how well it works in the beta. Let's just get into it. I'll talk about the patch notes, explain a little bit more about what each of these means. And if you guys want to see a video on any of these, just let me know in the comments down below, and that will be the inspiration for some of the future videos going up on this channel in the next week or so. So first up, we have some Erangel improvements, including new weather, map improvements, and festival effects. So night mode, you guys have seen night mode probably plenty of times on YouTube. If you want more footage from me playing night mode, I only put up one game, and it was more so just showing you what night mode was all about versus high-level gameplay. But night mode is only available classic, Erangel, third person, and first person, but it has to be on Erangel in classic. And the map will alternate between day and night randomly in classic mode. I think they mean it's random in order to actually get night mode. But the actual day-night cycle, at least to my knowledge, it tends to be day for the first 10 minutes or so of the match, then it's night for the next 10 minutes, and then it's day after that. Most matches run, classic Erangel matches run around 30 to 35 minutes, so that means that you'll have the first third, the looting phase, taking place in light, or more like dusk, and then the second phase, which is usually like your first couple rotations, that will be at night, and then your final circles will occur once again occur in the morning. So it looks a little different than dusk does to start, morning that is. Next up, we have night vision goggles. Well, that makes sense, because how else are you going to be able to see in the dark? They can be found anywhere. However, they're definitely on the rarer side. So I'd kind of equate them to something like a level 3 vest. Maybe a little more common than that, but yeah, they're definitely not the easiest to find. I searched all of Novo one game and only found 1 pair. I've also searched military base and found 2 or 3 pairs. So like I said, not the craziest, but definitely not the easiest to find. A huge benefit when you get to 10 minutes in and it starts getting dark. They've also added some new buildings in certain areas. I talked about this in the Chinese update. However, I can also make a video for it on the global beta if you guys want to see it. It's a new town over on a military base. We'll have to check to make sure there are no other buildings or structures added, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're referring to right here. They've also added cover next to some rivers. I believe that is the large river that runs from, where does it start? It starts around Yasnaya, and it runs all the way out to Georgopol. So they've added some more rocks and trees and stuff, so that crossing the river, when you're popping out on the opposing shoreline, you aren't instantly dead. They've also added some more trees in empty areas. This facilitates more, peeking and more tactical gameplay, I'd argue, in the later circles if a zone happens to close here, versus just closing in an open field where you have a ton of snakes. They've also added movie picture style or film. I've also seen it called film. I actually haven't made a video about this. I'll showcase it for sure, just with some gameplay. But basically, film is a darker, more contrasty color setting versus something like colorful or even realistic. Once selected, style will apply to all maps. Right, yeah, so this is not an Erangel improvement. This is actually applicable to every map currently in the game. There's also Halloween. That means that Spawn Island, yes, indeed, in 0.9.0, you do spawn in at Spawn Island again, no longer at the point of interest. And Spawn Island has become more festive and spooky. Interact with other players by picking up pumpkins and candies. You can throw them at each other. Enemies killed by Hellfire AKM will become scarecrows. Oh, that is crazy. So the Hellfire AKM is a gun skin, and you will become a scarecrow instead of a crate. A spooky face appears when a grenade explodes. All right, we'll have to take a look at that. We're going to have to mess around with this for sure. I didn't even know some of these things until I'm reading this. And during the Halloween event period, players have a 50% chance to activate night mode. It wasn't that high for me, at least not in third person. But it's good to know that it's easier than normal to get into night mode because, well, it's a new thing and everybody likes playing around with the new thing, right? So as I try to pull up this spooky AKM skin, let's keep going down to new weapons, vehicles, and related improvements. Let's see, is this the Neon Destroyer Witherer? I'm just looking off screen right now at, So it might be part of a set then in the shop. Anyways, they've added the QBU DMR. This replaces the Scar L, or rather the Mini 14 on Sonok. The QBZ replaces the Scar L. So this is a DMR or designated marksman rifle. It's meant for longer range combat. You can use up to an 8x scope on it. It has a bipod built in and it does 2 more base points of damage than the Mini 14. So it is an all-around amazing weapon to find and use on Sonok. The QBZ with the QBU, very powerful combination. Will certainly showcase that in a future video. They've also added the Roni pickup truck, which is only available in Sonok. It drives very similar to the pickups that can be found around Miramar. It's pretty good off-road, although I prefer the UAZ for protection. They've also added a random music play feature in vehicles, which can be turned off in vehicle settings. As I mentioned in the beta, this is just a nice little radio. It plays kind of the PUBG theme. It sounds a little different for every vehicle. And I don't know, I have a feeling that most people are going to have it turned off just so they can hear ambient sound better, but it sounds fun, especially if you're just driving into the zone in something like a friendly game. They've also altered the engine sound effects of the UAZ and the buggy, and they sound more realistic now. I really do like it. I think that they've moved in a positive way that sounds much similar or much more similar to the Chinese version, more realistic, and like I said, overall higher quality. They've also added driver and passenger views with improved vehicle interiors in first-person perspective. That's right, now we have first-person perspective driving in first person when you're playing in that mode, and I'm very glad to see that this is a thing because, well, driving around in third person when you're playing a first-person game is kind of cheating. And a lot of people, what they would do is they'd actually position their vehicle strategically and then just sit in the passenger side and third-person peek. Versus, using first person. So I'm glad to see that that has been altered. They've also bolt spread accuracy bonus from hipfire slightly reduced when crouching or staying down. So those of you who don't know, when you are like crouching or staying down, you typically get a bonus to accuracy. So you know how the reticle, I talked about this in a previous video about how when you're running with a shotgun, you're less accurate than when you're standing still, and when you're jumping, you're even worse than when you're running. So they have reduced the benefit you get by standing still slightly from hip firing. This means ADSing is even more, or aiming down the scope is even more important than normal. And the bullet spread accuracy has slightly increased when a player is stationary. So the accuracy bonus from crouching or staying down, which is lying down, has been reduced, and hip firing when you are standing still has been increased slightly. Honestly, just ADS, it's so much better than hip firing. You'll land more shots and you'll get more kills. They've reduced the vertical and horizontal recoil of the AKM, which is big because the AK is definitely one of the go-to weapons on a lot of high-level games for just close-range DPS, as well as longer range and single shot. They have reduced the spread accuracy bonus of certain attachments. I'm assuming that means spread accuracy. Makes me think something like the duckbill or the choke for the shotguns, perhaps. But until we get more clarification, just know that spread accuracy has gone down with certain attachments, although we don't really know which ones. The light grips now increase recoil recovery and stability. I'm assuming increased recovery is a positive change. They used to, I think, decrease recoil recovery, which made them worse for follow-up shots. Basically, the light grip, or maybe, I don't know, let me know, correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong here, but the light grip always used to be the go-to for single fires. That would be like an SKS, something that you're going to be tap firing one at a time, because it makes it harder to land follow-up shots, but it makes the shot, a single shot, more accurate. So like spraying is really bad with the light grip, but something like single shots are pretty good. Recoil animation while firing looks more realistic now. Okay, cool. They have new magazine attachment models for the QBZ and the QBU. This is just cosmetic and doesn't affect gameplay, so I don't know how many people actually look at that, but it's cool to see that they've made a positive change there. The reloading animation of some weapons in both first person and third person has been improved. Again, you know, cool change, even though it's only cosmetic. Now there's a new 4x scope crosshair design for the UMP9 Vector and SLR. Very curious to see what it is, because, well, the Vector and the UMP9 are more short-range weapons. You can use a 4x with them, but I would argue that they aren't the most common. And then the SLR is a DMR, or designated marksman rifle, just like the Mini 14 or the QBU. That's a much longer range focused weapon, so curious what that new 4x looks like on that. They've also added a motion that makes the character stand up while the motorcycle is airborne. This just looks cool and makes it look a little more realistic to how a rider would actually ride, that sort of thing. Ignore the fact that I am currently moving around in game, so actually just getting this set up to take a look at the new reticle for the QB, or not the QBZ, the SLR, the UMP9, and the Vectors. That's what I'm setting up here. Let's see if we can pull that up right now. So this is the SLR. This is what the reticle looks like on 0.8.5. This is the old one. You can see it right there. And then I'll pull up the new one in the PUBG Mobile 0.9.0 Global Beta in just a second. So as I load that on a screen right now, let's take a look at the next one. So like I said, motorcycle makes it look more realistic but doesn't do any other change, and they've added a brake button in vehicle driving mode 1 and 2. 1 is how I drive by default. I think that's the 2 button. It's 4 buttons set up basically forward, back, left, right. So now I have a brake button, although I always just use the oh, we've got an update. Actually, we have a, oh my gosh, 1.5 gigabyte update for the beta, so I'll have to get back to that in just a little bit as that's downloading. But yeah, the brake button, I don't really use that because, well, I always just push on reverse if I have to stop fast, so that's how I do it at least. And the sound effects of the dossier have been adjusted so it sounds the same as the original PUBG. Okay, so they have adjusted the dossier to sound more like the PC version of the game, I would assume. This is downloading terribly slow. I don't know if it's an issue with my Wi-Fi or just the servers, but looks like we're going to have 15 hours. So I might have to get back to you guys in another video about the new 4x reticle on those weapons. We'll have to see. And vehicle lights finally have been tuned, so that is good to see that now they work. A few of them weren't working well in night mode. It's cool to see that that has been improved. Next, we have some matchmaking improvements. Oh my gosh, look at all the changes here. This is probably going to be a pretty long video, but I appreciate you guys sticking around with me. I don't really want to break it up just because those videos don't tend to do that well either. But matchmaking improvements. Added an option where a system will first find teammates that speak the same language. We talked about this in the beta too. Basically, you can select up to 2 languages and you'll be more likely to match with people who speak those languages. That way, if you're playing something like, you know, with random squads or random duo, then there's a better chance that you'll actually be able to use voice chat. And this is especially important in places like Europe, where one geographic region you have a ton of people speaking different languages, which makes just random voice chat pretty much impossible. Matchmaking has also been improved. Finding matches should be faster now. Players should reach their appropriate tiers easier. So I'm assuming that means that you are going to more likely play with players of the same tier moving forward, and estimated wait time should be more accurate too. Good to see that. That was just introduced with, I think it was 0.8.0 or 0.7.5, I forget which. But the estimated wait times being accurate, yeah, especially in the higher levels of the game. Right now, they are not very accurate. And anything is better than what we have now, because I've seen a lot of high-level players, estimated wait times a minute and a half, and they end up waiting 15 minutes for a match. Spectator Mode. This is an exciting change that we've also talked about in video. Players can now watch other opponent players until the end of the match after being killed. So I've been a huge proponent for this for a while now. Basically, what it means is when you die, you get to spectate the person who killed you, and then when they die, you get to spectate that person all the way to the winner. So if you want to see how a game finishes up, that is the way to do it. And when spectating in real mode, players can turn on projectile and bullet trajectories. Interesting. So spectating in real mode, that means that's kind of like what I do in a lot of my custom matches when I'm spectating, talking about the teams and commentating on the match. Sounds exciting that we indeed have some more power over options to bring a better experience to viewers. Performance resolved. You can see here, by the way, guys, that it is downloading very slow. Very, very slow. I don't know why. I mean, you guys know that my Wi-Fi is very fast. I don't even know how many megabytes a second, but this is awful. So we'll get back to it, but I have a feeling that we're going to need to make a follow-up for those 4x scopes, or just showing anything in the beta right now, because this is not very good. So let's talk instead about performance issues. They've resolved lagging issues when players encounter other players from afar, or when they open inventory to change equipment. So encounter other players from afar, that sounds a lot like the render lag that we have all gotten used to seeing, and knowing that there's somebody within about 320 meters of us. Cool. Hopefully that's a thing, because right now it's kind of broken. It's very easy to know if somebody is going to be approaching your position based on render lag once you get used to determining what is that versus something like just a performance stumble by your device. They've also added a feature to only download the different files when updating a map. So if they update a map, say they add 4 new buildings to Miramar, instead of having to download the whole thing again, which is usually, it says 300, it was over that, I think it was like 320 megabytes. Now you only need to download the difference, which is like 13 megabytes. So that's really exciting for everybody who is on mobile data and has limited access to data, because now you don't have to waste it downloading pretty much the same thing with 1 or 2 changes. They've resolved some game crashing issues, always good. They've probably also introduced some new game crashing issues, so we'll have to see. But overall, I have high hopes for this update. This is the first update in a while that I'm very excited about. I think it adds a lot of new features, a lot of performance improvements, and at least from what I've seen in the beta so far, yeah, definitely very impressed. They've reduced loading time when the game is launched. We'll have to see, but I've never experienced that personally, although on lower end devices, the loading time, I don't think it's ever excessive, but maybe 30 seconds or so. This is big, though, if you get kicked out of a match, if your game force quits or crashes and you need to reload and get back into your match. Obviously, faster is better in that case. They've resolved the blurry screen issue on some mobile phones. Again, I can't say that I've experienced this firsthand, but it sounds like an annoying issue, and I'm glad that they've come up with some sort of a fix for it. They've also improved game update mechanism and resolved issues that may cause the update to fail. That sounds positive too. How about in-game purchases? Well, they've added the share for deals feature. Basically, if your friends, so there are new achievements, and I wasn't sure what this was when I first read about it, but basically get your friends to help you bargain, then get the item at a huge discount or even for free. So if you can convince your friend, I think this is how it works. If you can convince your friends to buy things, then they can pass on discounts to you. So if you can convince them to spend money, then you get a kickback, kind of like how an affiliate code works, but it's obviously automatic. Earn candies through a Halloween lucky draw to get Halloween exclusive vehicle finishes. Ooh, that sounds cool. I'll have to check that out for sure. That's why it's so important that this update comes out around the 25th or even a day or two before that, because it has to come out in time for Halloween so we can have all the fun Halloween themed stuff. Earn trick ticket scraps. Oh my gosh. Combine them into trick tickets for the lucky draw. Okay, so you earn scraps probably through completing missions, similar to how you got like the bullet casings for Sonic or the soccer balls or any of those limited time things, the cactuses, or cacti rather. So that's how you actually earn the tickets for the lucky draw, where you can get those Halloween exclusive vehicle finishes. Those are definitely going to be in high demand. Customizable outfits are available. Players can now select outfit colors and logos before purchasing. All right, you can purchase a unique outfit for your squad. Cool. Launch the same time with in-game tournaments. Okay, we'll have to take a look at those. I'm sure they'll mention those later. But you can notice how many crazy changes there are for 0.9.0, and this really puts this global version almost on par with the Chinese 0.10 update. So even though that's still like an update or two ahead of us, they had 0.9.5 first, a lot of those features are making it into this one. So exciting to see us playing catch up, hopefully not as far behind after this one globally. They've also added classic crates, which contain tons of rare items. So classic crates makes me think those rare items that you might have wished you had a chance at getting and now you don't because they cycled out. So something like the corn suit perhaps, or maybe the killer rabbit costume. I don't know. I'm just guessing there, but I'm thinking classic means things that, you know, have been around before and things that maybe not everybody got and wants in retrospect. So we've got classic crates. We'll have to see how expensive those are. We'll probably go ahead and do a crate opening or two for them. They've also added a notification for Royal Pass missions on the result page. So now you know if you completed Royal Pass missions, very similar to how achievements pop up after a match. Now you can know whether or not you completed your Royal Pass missions. The share tip will no longer be displayed when getting epic items. So basically, this is the thing that allowed you to share on social media if you opened up something really rare, and Epic wasn't, I guess, rare enough for them, so I guess that's why they cut it from the game. I don't know how many people are actually using that. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys ever use that or not, but yeah, that's what that is. They also redesigned the art for the GIF feature and added a Halloween-themed envelope, so cool. We'll definitely take a look at that, perhaps do a giveaway or two in the Discord, which I'll leave a link to down below, and we can test out that new Halloween envelope. Now, under Crew Challenge, oh my goodness, so much to get to. Leaders can register their crews for the Crew Challenge Tournament. So Crew Challenge Tournament in-game tournaments, again, are brand new for 0.9.0. 3 stages, qualification, groups, and finals. Teams will receive bonus rewards once they enter the group stage and the finals, and winning teams in the finals will receive great rewards. I'd imagine those are going to be in-game, so things like maybe coupons for crates or even UC, I don't know. We'll have to find out. They also added a new currency called the Challenge Coin. Players will get some Challenge Coins after each Crew Challenge game, which you can exchange in the Crew Challenge shop. I'd imagine those are different, though, from the winning bonuses for those who win the finals. Crews are now limited to 6 players from 10. Only teams with less than 6 may sign up. Less than 6. Okay. May sign up for the tournament. New teams will have a maximum of 6 players. Old teams with over 6 may remain as they are, but cannot recruit more players. So I think that means up to 6 players may sign up because they're saying maximum of 6. But anyways, just know that I'd imagine that the tournaments are going to be squads, so, you know, 4 starters and 2 alternates. Now, this is super exciting. I will probably make a separate video on this part, so sorry if you already watched that video, or I apologize in advance if you are this far in, like 25 minutes into this one, and you do watch this. But custom rooms, this is super, super exciting as somebody who casts these games, because added advanced room settings in rooms. This finally allows room card owners to set weapons and attachments, play zone, shrink speed, and other parameters. This is super, super cool. Hopefully this doesn't cost a lot, or hopefully they just give it to content creators because we're bringing a lot of people to their game. But this is awesome because we can now customize. We can more easily do melee only, for example, because we won't have people picking up guns if there are no guns to pick up. We can also adjust the play zone shrink speed. So if we don't want melee only to drag on for 25 minutes, we can make it super fast shrinking. Or if you want to do a death race to center, I don't even know. There's so many possibilities. Very, very, very excited to experience these and show them off for you guys. They've also added first-person perspective of Miramar and Sonic. You only used to be able to play first-person on a Wrangle. Now you can play on all the maps, just like you can in the normal game. Now you can too in custom rooms. So very, very exciting. Players can now invite friends to their rooms or share room invitations to team channels. This makes it easier to get in the people who you want to get into those matches early before they fill up in 4 seconds. And the entrances to rooms and training grounds have been moved to the main page, making them easier to access because, well, they are both very, very common buttons to push to get into, and I'd imagine they're going to be even more popular after this massive 0.9.0 global update. Other systems, oh my goodness, this goes on forever. How far does this go down? Oh my gosh. This is going to be like a 40-minute video, guys, but we're just going to push through, and there's just so much to get to. So they've added a Halloween theme. I'll see if I can speed this up at all. Once we get to like bug fixes and stuff, I think we'll speed it up. But added a Halloween theme and background music to the main menu page. That's what we were talking about in a couple of those videos. Add a feature to view recent likes on the friends page, so you know which one of your friends has neglected hitting that like button after the match. They've added a like ranking. Okay, that's probably just going to be whoever plays the most matches, but cool to see. Add a clan rename card in the shop. Only clan leaders can purchase and use it, so if you want to rename your clan, now you can. Don't know how much it costs yet, but we'll find all that out once I download this update, which is still downloading very slowly. Improve the achievements in team mode. Those who knock an enemy out will fulfill the killing condition of an achievement if the enemy is killed by themselves or by their teammates. Makes it easier to fulfill some of those achievements that don't require you to be playing solo. New achievements, eye for an eye. Kill one enemy and knock you out in the same game. So if they knock you out and then you go back and knock them out and kill them, you get the achievement. Take me with you. Sit on a vehicle that's being driven on a vehicle. Okay, or I'd imagine that's going to be in a vehicle. I'm not sure. Anyways, you're driving, enemies are driving a vehicle. You get in or on that vehicle for over 10 seconds. You get an achievement. Physical trainer. Oh my gosh, this one takes forever. Crouch 10,000, jump 10,000, go prone 10,000. Wow. New honor achievements. Chicken veteran. Get a total of that many challenge coins. Those are, we talked about those earlier from the crew challenge. And participate in a total of these crew challenges. So make sure you definitely pick good people for your crew, because you can only have 6 of them total, so 5 other people, and it sounds like they're going to become pretty important. Bargain hunter, help friends to bargain a total of that much. That's a lot of UC, so you're going to be helping a lot of people to get to those upper ranks of that achievement. New general achievement, Candy Master. Hit 6 other players with candy bombs, candy balls. So super easy to do. You can do this on a Wrangle. I think you can do this in any of the maps, but during the Halloween event, make sure you get it done then, because once the candy bombs are gone, I'd imagine this is going to be one of those impossible ones to get. When one or more players have different game client versions, I'll announce the players with the older version, so now everybody can call you out for not having updated. Players can also now view the update details when they download the update files, so now I guess it'll tell you on screen what the updates have in them. Guest mode has been moved to the more on the login screen. Okay, so it's not always the first choice now, because it's probably not used by that many people that often, unless you're doing something like voting. Remember, you get 3 more votes on your guest account too. Smooth transition. Added a filter, option to filter the same first language in team channel. Same language is selected. Okay, so you can now, this allows you to more easily screen team invitations by language. Translation feature will now translate chat into players' first language. Okay, cool. Portable closet can be used on Spawn Island now, right? That started the game. That's why even in the beta, when you spawn into Spawn Island, your portable closet is available for you to use in the bottom left of your screen. They've also added a few loading tips to help players understand the new game content, and oh my gosh, what a lot of content it is. For those of you watching this 30-minute video, though, hopefully we cover most of it in this one. Character action improvements. They've adjusted the angle and direction of the head turning action to make it more realistic. Cool. They've added a left arm waving action when a character falls from a certain height. We'll have to test that out. First half of the climbing action now looks smoother. Okay. They've added details when a character leaves the aircraft, opens parachute, and lands. Hopefully that doesn't introduce lag on lower end devices, but so far this is certainly a very exciting update, so I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic about that. Getting down while running now looks smoother. That means I showcased that in a video already on the beta, but that's when you go prone, you now kind of Superman into prone. It makes it more useful when diving behind cover than currently. New settings and improvements. They've added a feature to quickly switch between scopes. I've showcased that too. They've added 3 scope opening modes. Talked about that. Tap, press, and hold, and mixed. They've added an option to adjust game brightness and graphic settings. I will make a video on that. I'll show you the differences both in day and night mode for those of you curious how that affects those with and without night vision on. They've improved the configuration of high and low sound effects. Be able to set different settings in future versions at a limited number, upper limit for the number of scopes picked up, so you can no longer stack 8 times scopes if you want to be a boss and then drop them later and get a screenshot for Reddit. They've also improved recommendations for 3, 4, 6, and 8 times scopes. You can actually now select how many of each you want in the auto pickup settings. That's very nice. So let's say you really hate the 4 times scope and you really just don't want one in your life. You can set that to 0 and you won't automatically pick one up instead of currently picking up like 2 or 3 of them. They've also added customizable buttons for revive, cancel, cancel throwing, reload, and overhand, underhand throws. So now you can adjust more of the button. Now almost all like on-screen HUD options are customizable now, and this just adds the last few. So if your revive was really hard to hit, depending on what device you were playing on, now you can move it somewhere easier. Projectile improvements. Players can now switch between standing, crouching, lying down, or overhand, underhand when the grenade is triggered. Grenades can now be thrown while standing sideways. So when you're peeking or leaning with grenades, you can now throw them. And I didn't know you can actually switch between standing, crouching, and lying down or overhand, underhand when the grenade is already cooking in your hands. Frag grenades now deal more damage and cause tinnitus. This means that you will not be able to hear. I think it's for around 8 seconds or so. We'll have to test that out in a future video. But if you're close enough to a frag grenade, even if you don't take too much damage from it, you are not going to be able to hear gunshots or anything for a few seconds, which could be deadly. Molotov cocktails now deal more damage and can go through wooden doors. They can be detonated by firearms, and the fire from explosions will spread on wooden floors. This just makes them more realistic. We'll definitely have to test this out in game. It sounds really cool. Stun grenades now impact a bigger frontal area. Does anybody care? The whiteout effects have been improved. Awesome. I still don't think many people are going to use them, but that's cool. Bullets can now pierce through water but deal a lot less damage to targets underwater, so you can no longer fish camp. For those of you wondering what becoming a fish is in game, becoming a snake is just crawling around in the grass. Becoming a fish is staying underwater, coming up for air, and then going back underwater when the zone allows you to do that. And now you can take damage through the water, so that will prevent people from doing that. Added health bar animation also allows you to kill people who are knocked out in Watertown, because right now they get knocked out and then they're immune as they crawl underneath the water until they bleed out or get revived. They've added a health bar animation when character loses or recovers health. It just looks smoother now. Again, we'll have to see how this affects lower end devices, but it looks nice instead of just magically going back up to or going down to whatever your current health is. It kind of is like a smooth transition. The map marks on Spawn Island will no longer disappear after characters enter an aircraft. Yay! Or enter the aircraft. So now that means that if you want to talk about where you want to drop while you're on Spawn Island waiting for the game to start, you can actually set your markers already, and then when you enter the plane route, you don't have to reselect them. This is more of a big deal with the point of interest because, you know, you can mark it on the map. But then when the game started, you actually have to remember where the point of interest was, so you have to remark it. Now that is no longer a thing. The minimap will be actively scaled as players move in battles. So you'll notice now if you're driving, the minimap will zoom out automatically or it will zoom in with the zone as the zones start to shrink. Just really cool to see those improvements. And again, yeah, just from a gameplay standpoint, definitely exciting to see. They've added more icons in the kill broadcast. All right, we'll have to take a look at that with the kill feed. And the 8 main directions of the compass are now easier to recognize. So now you can look at your up at your compass on the top part of your HUD there, and more easily call out your cardinal directions to people. Fix an issue with the weapon not firing properly when the fire button is pressed. This 100% has happened to me before. And I know it sounds dumb. It's like, oh yeah, you know, just new mistake. Sometimes you just don't hit the fire button. Other times you hit the fire button and nothing happens. So very exciting to see that. And now we're up to the bug fixes, almost through this. Oh my gosh, 35 minutes, looking like it's going to be a 45 minute video when we're all said and done. How are we doing on that download? We are now 14 megabytes in. That is right, guys. We are 71 hours away from completion, probably because these servers are overloaded. But oh my goodness, I wanted to show you guys the 4 times and other changes. Not going to be in this video. So bug fixes, they fix some landscape model issues when characters or views are stuck. Okay, they've also fixed an issue with collision with teammates while standing down. May cause teammates to fall and lose health. Oh, yes. So this is the bug fix for the tripping bug. So this is the tripping bug or glitch where you go prone, you spin around, and you do damage to teammates or enemies. Now it looks like that's no longer a thing. So good to see that's fixed, although it was a hilarious bug. They've also fixed an issue where UAZ may hit characters airborne. It used to knock people up, and that's not good, so they fixed that. Fixed an issue where the camera of the passengers and motorcycle sidecar shakes unexpectedly. That means they are now slightly worse of the worst vehicle, but I will still never run in one of those things if I can help it. Fix an issue that causes item lists to not display properly in the backpack under unstable network conditions. Pretty sure this is when the certain items would just disappear. So that was like the backpack bug. So, you know, you'd pick up items and they just wouldn't show up anywhere. They'd take up room even, but they just wouldn't show up anywhere, which was really lame. Fix an issue that caused firearms to not display properly in the weapons spot. Okay, well, I never experienced that personally, but good to know that that has been fixed too. Fix an issue with vehicles that explode tires can still be driving smoothly in first-person perspective. Yeah, those of you who didn't know, if you lost a tire, all you had to do in the Chinese version to drive normally was switch to first person and then switch back, and then your car drove like it had 4 tires. So another bug. Good to see that they fixed that. Fix an issue caused stand up again after suddenly getting down. This has happened to me too and has also gotten me killed a couple times. You're running, you go prone, and then all of a sudden your character stands back up. You're like, what the heck are you doing? And then you get headshot. Just really dumb. Glad that bug is also fixed. Fix an issue that caused characters to be stuck in certain scenes. I guess that's where maybe the game just freezes. Good. Fix an issue where character animation is not properly displayed. Okay. Fix other known battle and system issues. Perfect. Fix an issue where vehicles with exploded tires can still be driven smoothly in first-person perspective. It's important enough that they have included it twice. Alrighty, so there you go. There are the PUBG Mobile patch notes for 0.9.0, probably the largest update so far as the most new features, the most bug fixes and changes, and oh my goodness. What do you guys think of it? 38 minutes in. What do you guys think? Hopefully you watched on 2 times or 1.5 if you could, because man, what a long video that was. Either way, thanks for sticking with me till the end. My name's DerekG. If you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Consider subscribing too if you haven't already for tons more PUBG Mobile content. I hope to see you in my Discord server, which I'll leave a link to in the video description down below or on the battlefield soon. And like I said before, if you guys want to see future videos on any of these changes, definitely just let me know in the comments down below, and I can certainly accommodate that request.